Dear students, this video is on class 10, chapter 6, part 11. So, in the previous video, we have discussed about the respiratory system of the animals like terrestrial animals, aquatic animals, etc. In this video, we will discuss about the respiratory system in human beings. So, let's start. In human beings, in figure 6.9, air is taken into the body through the nostrils. So you can see the diagram here, the nostrils is there. This is the nostrils. The air passing through the nostrils is filtered by fine hairs that the line the passes. The passage is also lined with mucus, which helps in this process. So here two important things are present in the nostrils. One is fine hairs, another is mucous materials. So these two are helpful for filtering the gases or the air passing through the nostrils or nose. From here the air passes through the throat and into the lungs. So ইয়াৰ পিছত কি হয়, এয়াৰটো ক'ত যাব, থ্ৰোটৰ মাজেদি, এইটো হৈছে থ্ৰোটৰ মাজেদি পাৰ হৈ লাংছত আহি যাব. Rings of cartilage are present in the throat. This ensures that the air passage does not collapse. So this is the function of rings of cartilage. আমাৰ ডিঙিৰ ওচৰত মানে থ্ৰোটৰ ওচৰত যে এটা কাৰ্টিলেজৰ এটা পাইপ আছে. এই পাইপটো কিহৰ কাৰণে আছে, কাৰণ এই পাইপটো নাথাকিলে কি হ'ব, আমাৰ উশাহ নিশাহ লোৱাত অসুবিধা হ'ব পাৰে. আৰু সেইকাৰণে এইটো ইয়াতে ফাংচন দিছে যে which ensures that the air passage does not collapse. collapse মানে যাতে চেপা খাই নাযায়, চেপা খাই নাযাবৰ কাৰণে এই কাৰ্টিলেজটো হেল্প কৰে. Within the lungs, the passage divides into smaller and smaller tubes which finally terminate in balloon-like structure which are called alveoli. So here another important definition is what is called alveoli. So alveoli are the balloon-like structure which are present in the smaller tubes of the lungs. So what is the function of alveoli? The function of alveoli is provide a surface where the exchange of gases can takes place. So it provides a surface for the exchange of gases in the lungs. The walls of the alveoli contain an extensive network of blood vessels. As we have seen in earlier years, when we breathe in, we lift our ribs and flatten our diaphragm, and the chest cavity becomes larger as a result. Because of this, air is sucked into the lungs and fills the expanded alveoli. So this is the mechanism of our breathing. How can we take the oxygen in and how can we breathe out, that is carbon dioxide out. So this is the mechanism. So in this mechanism, diaphragm plays an important role and also the ribs plays a very important role. Due to these two, the chest cavity becomes larger and the air from the outside sucked into the lungs and fills the expanded alveoli. These alveoli expanded when the diaphragms and the ribs are expanded. The blood brings carbon dioxide from the rest of the body for release into the alveoli, and the oxygen in the alveolar air is taken up by blood in the alveolar blood vessels to be transported to all the cells in the body. So carbon dioxide, it is more soluble with blood. So the carbon dioxide mixing with the blood is taken inside the lungs from different parts of the body, and here that means in the lungs it is filtered or it is purified and the oxygen is added with the blood, and this blood is again transported to every part of the body through blood vessels. During the breathing cycle, when air is taken in and let out, the lungs always contain a residual volume of air so that there is a sufficient time for oxygen to be absorbed and for the carbon dioxide to be released. So, whenever we are taking oxygen or releasing carbon dioxide, so there is a residual volume. Residual volume means the volume which is already filled with some gases, whatever the oxygen or the carbon dioxide which is remain inside the lungs, and for this, that means for this residual volume, it takes or it gets available time or sufficient time to get the oxygen with the blood and the carbon dioxide is released. So, this residual volume is very important for this purpose. When the body size of the animal is large, the diffusion pressure alone cannot take care of oxygen delivery to all parts of the body. So, if the animal is so large, very large animal, for example elephant, blue whale, then the human being, etc., all are larger animals. So, diffusion pressure is not sufficient to transport the blood to all the cells of the organs. So, here what happens, instead of respiratory pigments take up oxygen from the air in the lungs and carry to its tissue which are deficient in oxygen before releasing it. So, in such animals some pigments are there that are called respiratory pigments, and that due to the presence of that pigments, it is easy to carry out the oxygen from the lungs to the every cells of the body. In human beings, the respiratory pigment is hemoglobin, which has a very high affinity for oxygen. This pigment is present in the red blood corpuscles. Carbon dioxide is more soluble in water than oxygen is, and hence is mostly transported in the dissolved form in our blood. So, in our body, hemoglobin pigment is present. Due to the presence of hemoglobin in the red blood corpuscles, it has a more affinity for oxygen to dissolve. So, it will be easier for the blood to carry out oxygen to all the cells. And one thing to be remembered, that carbon dioxide is already it is a soluble in water and also with blood. So, it is easy to transport from different parts of the body to the lungs very easily in the dissolved form.